Order. Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the command post. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I, of course, am your commander-in-chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Lamar Jackson announced today that he requested a trade back on March the 2nd from the Baltimore Ravens. That adds another layer and wrinkle into this very complex situation that we've been talking about for months. And I'll elaborate on it more on the podcast today because I think there are three teams that are in this discussion that when we look at Lamar Jackson and landing destinations, I really think it's down to three teams. I think those three teams are the Indianapolis Colts, the Tennessee Titans, and the Washington Commanders. Now, do I ultimately think he ends up in Washington? I've said this already. No. However, I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and I wasn't going to bring this up because I didn't think it was pertinent to bring it up because I honestly believe they're going to go with Sam Howell, okay? So there's no reason to continue to have these conversations if you don't really think anything's going to happen. But with this new wrinkle, I think it's worth mentioning now. I've always thought about this, and it's something that's been bothering me a bit. Ron Rivera has seemed way too comfortable, and my guy, King of the North, brought this up like 2 weeks ago, and we talked about it. But he said, is Ron really hitching his wagon? Is he really betting his entire career, well, tenure in Washington? And who's to say that he gets another head coaching job after this? This could be it for Ron Rivera. The league could speak and say, you know what? Ron's had his two opportunities. He hasn't gotten it done. He's not a head coach in this league. I don't think that's going to be the case, even if he gets fired after this season. I think there is another opportunity out there for Ron Rivera somewhere. But that said, is he really staking his claim and betting the rest of his Washington Commanders tenure on the arm and legs of a second-year quarterback in Sam Howell, a fifth-round pick, no less, which is the thing that bothers me the most when people say that. But it's true. He was a fifth-round pick. And that is a hell of a question when you think about it. And Ron's been so calm this offseason. Almost as if he knows in the back of his mind that he's got an ace that he's going to pull out of his back pocket. Like there's some kind of secret weapon that he hasn't disclosed to anyone, but he knows that he's going to be able to pull that out at some point, and that's going to ultimately say there's this calmness over Ron this offseason. And maybe that just stems from the fact that he knows he's getting rid of Dan Snyder, just like the rest of us. Maybe he knows he can sleep at night knowing that he won't have to answer any more questions about scandals, and you won't have to answer any more questions about the past, because once you flush this Dan Snyder era, when you sell to the new owner, whomever that is, with Dan Snyder goes all of the bullshit that we've dealt with for the last 23 years. So Ron doesn't have to answer any more questions. He'll have to answer some questions about new ownership and what this means for his job moving forward, and he'll get those questions, but no more questions about past transgressions of this organization, workplace culture, and what do you have to tell your players about this because some dumb lawyer that represents Dan Snyder decided to drag Brian Robinson into a discussion that he has nothing to do with. He doesn't have to answer any more of those stupid ass questions. He doesn't have to worry about that. Maybe he's sleeping better at night because of that. But I just know from watching Ron these 3 years, after each season, there's been this level of desperation that has heightened with each season. Okay, after the first year, Ron was desperate to find a quarterback because we won the division, and now all of a sudden the expectations, they sped up for whatever reason. We were 7-10 or 7-9 rather, and we won the division. That was terrible. There was no need for expectations to be heightened, but Ron allowed outside influences and factors and forces to work, and he decided to go out and get Ryan Fitzpatrick. Maybe Fitzpatrick was exactly what this team needed and he wasn't speeding up the timeline. He just was getting a quarterback that he thought could upgrade the position. I don't know. Either way, it didn't work, obviously. And we saw the results of 2021. And Heineke got an opportunity, proved that he was a backup in this league. And they felt like, hey, we're right there. We just need a better quarterback. So what do? They panic. He goes on a world tour, all right, telling everyone that will listen that we're looking for a quarterback. If you've got one, we're interested. Hit us up. You know our number. Hit my line. Y'all got my number. They trade for Carson Wentz. We see what happened there. And then you would think, new ownership group coming in. You're going into year 4. The results haven't been good. You haven't had a winning season yet. This could be the year you get fired. And Ron has been as calm, cool, and collected. And he's just like, hey, we rolling with Sam. Now we're going to bring in some competition, but that competition's Jacoby Brissett. That means we're rolling with Sam. And Ron's just got this calmness about him. He hasn't had that since the first year he got here in 2020. And I'm thinking to myself, are you really that confident? I'm confident in Sam Howell. You guys know that. But are you, Ron, really that confident in Sam Howell? Are you really? Or are you not telling me something? Is there an ace in your back pocket that you're holding on to? And I started thinking to myself, we're penny pinching with guys like Cole Holcomb and Drew Tranquill. And, we're not signing any big deals. The biggest deal that we signed was Daron Payne. And that actually lessened his contract number in the cap hit for this year. It lessened it. Okay. He was going to be on a franchise tag that was going to pay him north of $20 million. Now you bring in, you get this long-term deal, and that brings that cap number down significantly. So that actually benefits you. They haven't spent on any big-ticket items. They've been lowballing guys on the free, but this has been league-wide. This is not a Washington Commanders thing. If you look at the market, this offseason, nobody's getting bread, okay? I mean, the league, I don't know if they're trying to recorrect the market or what, but everybody's across the board getting lowballed. Safeties, running backs, corners, you name it. You look across the board, you look at the money that was being handed out 2-3 years ago, you look at the money that was handed out this offseason. Remember that offseason when Landon Collins got that massive safety deal? And then Earl Thomas got one from the Ravens, and Tyrann Mathieu got one from the Chiefs, and everybody at the safety position was getting broken off. You look at the safety position just last offseason where we had all that movement, or was it 2 off seasons ago? I think it was 2 off seasons. It might have been last when Marcus Williams goes to the Ravens, gets a massive deal, and Justin Reed goes from the Texans to the Chiefs and gets a really good deal for him, and Marcus May goes to the Saints, and there was a lot of money being thrown around at the safeties. Look at what happened at the safety market this year. Look at what's going on at linebacker. There was some good money given out to some linebackers this year. But then you look at guys like David Long, and he's getting a 2-year, $11 million deal. Like, there wasn't a ton of money being handed out at a lot of positions. Receiver, too. So it's not just a Commanders thing. However, we were a part of this movement of lowballing people and not paying a ton of money. We opted to go with the cheap route on the offensive line. We went economical, okay? Quantity over quality, potentially. We'll see. Maybe it is quality. Maybe we're going to exceed the 3-year, $24 million deal we handed out to Andrew Wiley. Maybe he exceeds that. We'll see. Nick Gates may not start, may just be a depth piece. We'll see what happens with him. Maybe there's a rhyme to their reason. Maybe Ron knows all along the calmness that we're seeing from Ron, the lack of panic going into a year that feels like it's make or break. Maybe there's something in his back pocket he's not telling us about. I've thought about this long and hard. I wasn't going to bring it up because I still don't think anything's going to happen. Then there's the Eric Bieniemy piece of this conversation. And after this, we're going to tie everything in, and then we're going to kind of go tail of the tape between Lamar Jackson and Sam Howell, right? Because at the end of the day, Any team considering moving on Lamar Jackson, you're essentially looking at your quarterback situation, comparing everything there, and then you're looking at Lamar Jackson and comparing what it's going to take to get him and what you're going to have to pay him. And you're putting those two things and you're pitting them against one another. Which one makes the most sense for your team in the short term, but also in the long term? All right. This is not a short-term play. There are too many of you out there with this short-term, focus of, hey, we've sucked for the last 30 years, 40 years at quarterback. I want it fixed now. You can fix it now, but it may hurt you in the long run. And if you're not winning a Super Bowl, then the shit's not worth it. The Rams blew up their future to win a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford, and they won the Super Bowl. It's worth it. Now, there's going to be pain, and we saw what happened to them last year. There will be pain coming in the next few years for the Rams, and maybe into the future. There will be pain. When you give up the draft capital that they've given up to get Ramsey and Von Miller and Matthew Stafford, there will be pain inflicted. They just got a little slice of what's probably to come. There are 1 or 2 injuries and Aaron Donald retiring away from being horrible. We saw it last year. They were terrible. And they don't even get to reap the benefits of that because they gave away their first round pick for the next 27 years. So even if they stink, they don't get to reap the benefits of being terrible and say, all right, well, at least we got the 5th pick in the draft. There are some ramifications, okay? But I wanted to go to this comment. So I got a comment from my guy Hollywood. And he hit me up on Twitter, and he sent me this message, and I'm going to read it to you, and then we're going to react to it because I think it's interesting. Hey, Lou, watched your video on Sam Howell, NHL. Y'all know what it is. New Howell order, right? New Howell. And it brought me to these thoughts and questions. If you're EB and you come here to showcase you're a genius, are you really banking on Sam Howell? You have about 30 to 40 quarterbacks to pick from, and you are comfortable placing that on a rookie because this will be a new offense for him this year as well. Quarterback drafted in the 5th round. I respect everyone's opinion as a fan. In my opinion, I think EB either wants to go get a proven guy, i.e. Lamar or someone he's coached with or against often, or he wants to handpick a guy from the draft that he feels can do what needs to be done as a coach. I'd be shocked if Howell is our starting quarterback week 1. I could be wrong, but I do not see him beating out JB if it comes down to learning a new system and processing information fast from the playbook to the field, being in his rookie year in this offense. So because of that, I do not think EB has found his starting quarterback. I think too often with a lot of fans, we're looking at Eric Bieniemy as if he's the head coach of this team. Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator. He may only be here for 1 year. You're not going to change everything that you do fundamentally to accommodate Eric Bieniemy. There are things that they've already changed, right? And there are things that they're willing to acquiesce to make him more comfortable. But one of those things isn't getting a guy at the quarterback position that Eric Bieniemy is quote unquote comfortable with because he may be only coaching that guy for 1 year. Okay, what if the next coordinator comes in here and he's like, yeah, I can make Lamar work, and then he can't. So what essentially I am saying, so what I want to do is I want to disregard the second part of this comment because there's no way that Jacoby Brissett is your starting quarterback week 1 unless Sam Howell is injured. I'm at the point now where unless Sam Howell isn't physically able to participate, okay, he's your week 1 starter, barring some kind of, obviously, trade for a Lamar Jackson or something of that ilk, okay? That's the only thing that's going to keep him off the field is him not physically being able to compete. Jacoby Brissett is not beating him out. Let's not act like Sam Howell is illiterate. He can't learn a new offense. He can't function in an offense that he hasn't been in for multiple years. You do know that he was a rookie last year. And he played in the preseason. So again, you're not game planning for your opponent, but he didn't look terrible in the preseason. And we saw how he looked in week 18. Granted, he had a full year in the system, and they tailored a little bit of a game plan to him, and they didn't let him throw it a whole hell of a lot in the game, but when he did, he was very effective. Okay? What I'm saying essentially is, whether Sam has the playbook memorized front and back, which he won't, to your point, he's going into his second year, new offense for the second consecutive year. It's going to be an adjustment. He's got time. He'll get the playbook in May. He'll get to comb over it, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be locked in, and by the time they show up in late July, he'll be ready to execute the offense. They've got all these camps that they'll have from May into June, and he'll be ready by the time July rolls around. And guess what? If he's not fully comfortable with the playbook, you condense it and you get the things that he is comfortable with, and you feed him that until he's ready to expand his diet. His appetite increases and he can get more. We don't have to play the game of, oh, it's a new offense and Jacoby Brissett's going to pick it up fast. Who gives a shit? He's Jacoby Brissett. Okay? Nobody is worried about what Jacoby Brissett can or can't process. All right? Jacoby Brissett can have it memorized by the time May rolls around. Guess what? He's still not starting. Okay? At the end of the day, this is about Sam Howell and whether you think Eric Bieniemy can do what he needs to do with Sam Howell. So I want to talk about the first part of this because I've heard people refer to the first part of this comment, which was, is Eric Bieniemy coming here to work with Sam Howell? Ron Rivera was telling prospective offensive coordinators, if you're coming to Washington, you're coaching who? Not Jacoby Brissett. Obviously, he wasn't on the roster yet. Not Jacoby Brissett. Not a quarterback in the draft. Not Lamar Jackson. You're coming here with the intent of coaching up Sam Howell. Okay? Eric Bieniemy knew what he was coming here to do. Now, with that said, let me ask you something. Eric Bieniemy's whole deal as to why he hasn't gotten a head coaching job, which is still stupid to me, but okay, fine, is it wasn't him, it was Andy Reid. You want to hear another reason why he hasn't gotten a job yet? Oh, it wasn't him, it was Patrick Mahomes. So do you really think it's more beneficial for him to come here and bring Lamar Jackson, have them bring in, not because Eric Bieniemy's not in control of anything. He's not going to say, hey, Ron, go get me Lamar Jackson. Like, Ron's going to look at him like he's got three eyes. Like, bro, what the hell are you talking about? You better focus on getting the best out of Sam Howell, okay? You got Lamar Jackson money? Because you might get the most out of Lamar for 1 year, go get a head coaching job. I'm stuck dealing with no first-round picks for the next two drafts. I'm dealing with the money that he's going to be paid and how that's going to affect our cap situation. I'm dealing with that shit. You're going to get the most out of him 1 year, and then you're going to haul ass, get you a job. So Eric Bieniemy's not in control of anything. However, I'll say this. If you're Eric Bieniemy, what's more impressive? You go to Washington and you take that offense that people seem to think universally doesn't have a lot of talent. Okay? When you listen to all these draft or you listen to all these pundits who have no idea what's going on, clearly they have no clue, say, oh, there's no talent. Eric Bieniemy's going to Washington. How is he going to succeed? They don't have any talent there. And he's getting Sam Howell at quarterback. Just dismissing Sam. You know one of the things that prompted me to do the video that I did the other day is this narrative of Washington stinking next year. Like, Sam Howell is trash, and somehow Washington's going to end up with a top 5 pick next year. And, you know, people do this. This is that way too early mock for next year. And you got to put somebody in the top 5, right? Somebody's got to be in the top 10. You go, everybody can't be good. League's got to have some bad teams. Well, the easiest thing to do, the low-hanging fruit, is to take the team with the unproven quarterback and just say, hey, yeah, they're going to suck. They sucked the year before. You're giving them an unproven quarterback. They're going to suck even worse this year. My buddy called me and said, hey, I got y'all, being in the sweepstakes for Caleb Williams. And I'm like, you shut up. You're a Raiders fan. Don't talk to me. You almost had Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud this year. You were the worst team in the league after like 10 weeks of football. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me, okay, about my team. You have no idea what's going on out here. But it aggravates me because I know that this team has potential. Now, potential will get you fired, right? We've been talking about potential for years, but we finally built this roster into something. Remember what I talked about 2 years ago? Building the infrastructure of the roster and then dropping the quarterback in, right? Remember I've been talking about that? The old Seattle Seahawks model, the old Buffalo Bills model of where you build up the infrastructure of the roster and then you finally find the guy and you just boop, drop him in the middle and you just take off. We've done that now. This roster is not complete by any means, specifically on the defensive side. And there are little tweaks here and there that can be made on the offense. We can upgrade the tackle position, both sides. We could use a athletically gifted tight end, and we may have one already on the roster in Amani Rodgers. But we could use little pieces here and there. We could use a difference-making back in terms of speed and just third down, all-purpose type back, a return man. We could use some more corner help, specifically in the nickel. Like, there's a lot of things, linebacker, obviously. There's a lot of things that can still be done. But this team is ready to compete for something, especially in a wide-open NFC. I've talked about this since last year. This NFC is wide open. It's why Brock Purdy can come out of nowhere as Mr. Irrelevant and lead a really good 49ers team. What did they do? They built that roster up, right? Defensively, offensively, it's built. And they dropped Brock Purdy, boop, right in the middle of that thing, and they're all the way to the NFC Championship game. They're also well coached. That helps too. However, we think we're going to be better coached this year. However, they've got talent in San Francisco, and they just dropped the quarterback in. Boop. I feel like we're trending in that direction. We've got the talent. We're still building, still pieces left to add. We're not done yet. But you drop the quarterback in, boop, and you take off. Is it more beneficial for Eric Bieniemy to coach Lamar Jackson if he's looking for a head coaching job? If he wants teams to be impressed with him, organizations to say, damn, what a job Eric Bieniemy did. Is it more beneficial for him to have an established quarterback like Lamar Jackson, or is it more impressive for him to take a guy that's a fifth-round pick like old poor Sam Howell? Okay, a guy that's a fifth-round pick. Oh, my God, how is he doing this? It's a fifth-round pick. He's going to stink. And make him look good, make this offense impressive. Which one is more beneficial to EB getting a job? Taking Sam Howell and making him look good and this offense look much better than it's been in the last 5 to 7 years, or taking Lamar Jackson and just riding his coattails and having this offense look good? You tell me which one makes more sense if he's looking to get a gig. If you believe in yourself, and I told you when you get to this point, it's called athletic arrogance. You got to have it. Eric Bieniemy has it. He's like, yo, I can do this shit. Okay? I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. They've been disrespecting me in Kansas City for the last 5 years. They've demeaned what I did, belittled what I did. My contribution hasn't been significant enough. That's why I'm in Washington. So if I want to show them that it's really me, now I'm calling the show, I'm calling the shots, I'm calling the plays, and I'm going to do it without Patrick Mahomes. Not going to do it with a former league MVP and Lamar Jackson. I'm going to do it with Sam Howell, a fifth-round pick. What you going to say now? No more excuses. Give me a job. I earned it. To me, that makes more sense. But I want to talk about this organization in particular, and I'm going to talk about on my podcast today where I ultimately think he lands. So if you're considering Lamar Jackson, I know a lot of people in the fan base, somebody hit me up on social, one of my guys hit me up, DM me and was like, bro, Lamar requested a trade. We got to go get him. We got to go get him, man. I know you love Sam Howell, but we got to go get him. And I'm like, I'm not opposed to it. Okay? I'm not opposed to it. If Washington in May put a deal on the table for Lamar Jackson forking over 2 firsts, and the Ravens are like, that's too rich for my blood. He's all yours. I wouldn't have any issues with it. I would be like, damn, that's a lot of money. Damn, we just gave up 2 first-round picks, but I'd be excited for the prospects of getting a guy like Lamar Jackson. Now, I will tell you this. This is not fair, and I hate even putting this in the atmosphere. But with his style of play, I got a feeling at some point there is a significant injury, Achilles or an ACL, something to that effect. We got close last year with the sprained PCL. He's getting closer and closer to blowing his shit out. I don't want to be the team that invests 2 first-round picks and a ton of money for him to lose an entire season to an ACL or an Achilles. It would be just our luck to do that shit. Now, if you could guarantee me, which you can't guarantee me anything, that Sam Howell's even going to be any good. You can't guarantee me anything. If you could guarantee me that Lamar Jackson was going to stay healthy, I know what he's capable of. I'm willing to debunk the narrative of, oh, he's not good with receivers. Well, let me bring him on board and let's find out. We got receivers. We'll find out if he can't get it to receivers or not. I'm willing to find out. My problem is I think he's going to get injured. That's the problem that I have. And for those of you out there lamenting about money spent, oh, it's going to cost a lot. It's going to cost us the ability to sign this guy and that guy. Get over yourself, okay? Here's why. Because if Sam Howell is good, guess what? You're going to have to do in 2 years. If Sam Howell plays well this year and backs that up with another good year in year 3, he's going to get paid. What do you think is going to happen with him? Now, will it be as much as Lamar Jackson? Maybe. Maybe it will. Might not be as much guaranteed money, but it'll be a significant amount of your cap. You know why? Because the cap is only going up. And if you do a deal with Lamar this year, in 2 years' time, that Lamar Jackson deal is going to look like pennies on the dollar compared to what you're going to have to pay Sam Howell down the road if he's good. You want that problem of paying a quarterback. That means you found a guy. That means you found a guy. We haven't found a guy here in a very, very long time. So those of you who are complaining about the cap and what it'll cost to get a guy like Lamar Jackson, forget about that. Forget about that, because in this league, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. To hell with the amount that it costs. Go get the quarterback if you can get him. So money isn't the issue for me. I'm more concerned about the draft picks. If we're being honest, you can get more money. You can't get more draft picks. Okay? You're not getting first-round picks back. We can get more cap space. We can restructure this deal. We can restructure that deal. We can do this. We can do that. We can. You saw with the now. Again, you're going to eventually pay for this. But you saw what the Browns did with Deshaun Watson. They restructured his deal. Now they're on the hook for like $64 million each of the next 4 years, and they can't get out of it. But if you want to free up cap space, there's ways you can do that. I said all of that to say this. For those of you looking at a Lamar Jackson trade and basing your decision solely off of the fact that it's going to be expensive. Quarterbacks are expensive. Deal with it. Okay? Deal with it. Sam Howell will be expensive in 2 years if he's any good. That's just the nature of the beast. Now, when you look at the tail of the tape, Lamar's young, man. Prime of his career, 26 years old. He just turned 26 in January. Sam's 22. Okay? He's a spring chicken, man. It doesn't get much younger than that in this league. Rookie deal, that's the enticing part of Sam Howell. Whereas Lamar, you know right off the bat, you're breaking this dude off. And look, at the end of the day, Lamar's value tanked when he wasn't able to complete each of the last 3 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens. Didn't finish the playoff game in 20. Didn't finish the season in 21. They missed the playoffs because he didn't finish the season. and didn't finish the season in 2022 and would have won the playoff game against Cincinnati if he were playing and that not be their backup quarterback. So there's that. You can't ignore that. A lot of you were talking about going and getting Lamar as if we're talking about the MVP from 2019. Like, we're far removed from that guy. Not that he can't get back to that level, because at the beginning of 2022, he was an MVP frontrunner after the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. He was on a torrid pace. But in typical Lamar Jackson fashion, as we've seen the last 2 years in particular, but 3 if you go back to that AFC divisional round playoff game against Buffalo where he didn't finish due to a concussion, injuries have taken effect. And so understand that is a part of the discussion. Any quarterback can get hurt. Sam Howell could have something happen to him. Anything can happen. We, of all teams, know what it's like to have your quarterback get injured. We haven't had a guy start the season and finish it since Kirk Cousins was here last in 2017. So if anybody, any fan bases out there knows what it's like to have turmoil and turnover at the position due to injury, it's us. If you're putting them head to head, it's not a contest. Lamar wins, hands down. There's nothing to debate. Okay? If you're just putting them side by side, who gives you the best chance to win? It's Lamar Jackson in the short term. It's Lamar Jackson. If you're putting them side by side and you're saying who gives you the best chance to win long term, it could be Lamar Jackson, and it probably is Lamar Jackson because of the body of work that he's put forth already. You can extrapolate that out another 5, 6, 7 seasons and say, hey, Lamar gives us the best chance to win on the field. There is a cap, and while I'm telling you, don't overvalue the importance of cap space and the maneuverability of the cap. If you've got good number guys, you'll figure this shit out. But you're going to lose some players. Let's not act as if that's not going to impact what happens. You're going to lose some guys that you potentially would like to sign. Not going to be able to keep everybody. The only reason we've been able to do what we've done, John Allen, Daron Payne, we're still looking at the defensive ends and saying, hey, we may be able to do one or both of them. More likely than not, one of them. The only reason we can do that is because we don't have a quarterback here on a massive deal. That all changes if you trade for Lamar Jackson. You're not re-signing Montez Sweat or Chase Young no matter what they do this or next year. They're gone. You might as well trade them right now and try to get your first round pick back because they're gone. And then you start finding yourself in a situation where you go, well, Lamar's out here and we're scoring 31 points a game, but we're giving up 33 because the defense is ass again. Because I've already told you, I'm not confident in the defense yet, okay? We're not out of the woods defensively. You start picking away at the pieces that we do have, and now that side of the football starts to regress. Now you get better on offense, but now the defense is getting worse. So there's a balancing of the scales. You pay Lamar long term, it may bite you in the ass. Short term, Lamar is the answer. You're looking for instant gratification, Lamar Jackson's the man for the job. You're looking for a long-term solution that gives you cap flexibility, long-term cap health, potentially, allows you to continue to build this roster the way that you've been building it. Sam Howell is the answer. And again, he may not be any good. I'm aware of this. I don't think that's going to be the case. Got to protect him. Offensive line has to be better than it was last year. But with his mobility and his ability to throw the football and the weapons that we can put on the field, I like my chances. So you're talking about two young quarterbacks. Lamar's 26 years old. It's not like you're trading for Russell Wilson where he's 33 years old and you're like, yeah. This ain't Aaron Rodgers where you're talking about a two-time, three-time league MVP, won 2 out of the last 3 MVP trophies, but he's 38 years old, 39 years old. How many more years are you really going to get? You're talking about 26-year-old Lamar Jackson versus 22-year-old Sam Howell. You're talking about some young boys, man. One is a little bit more volatile than the other because much like an explosive point guard who really doesn't have a great jump shot, i.e. John Wall, i.e. Ja Morant, if I take your explosiveness from you, if I take the one thing that you have away from you, are you able to adapt? That's Lamar Jackson's ticket, is his ability to be an athlete who also can throw the football. You take that one thing away from him, that athleticism away, is Lamar Jackson still Lamar Jackson? We don't have to find that out anytime soon. He's 26. Okay? We don't have to ask those questions. As long as he stays healthy, we know what we're getting. But is he going to stay healthy? He hasn't done it the last 2 years. And again, he hasn't finished each of the last 3 seasons. But the last 2 in particular, he's cost his team because he hasn't been on the field. Last year, I debate that this was more of a contract thing and he was sending a message to the Ravens. I think he could have come back and played. I'm no doctor. I didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn. I'm not here to tell you what he couldn't have done. I think he made a point. I'm not going out here and risking myself for you, and you don't even think I'm worth the money that I feel like I should be paid. You don't value me the way that I think I should be. You think I'm going out here and putting my neck out for you and risking my future because you think I can help us win, but you don't want to pay me? Yeah, right. You're right. Go ahead and let old number 2 have it. See what he can do. Go see what the 3rd string Oregon quarterback can do. Good luck with that. I think he made a statement last year. I think he could have came back late in the season last year. Even in the postseason, I think he could have played against Cincinnati, but we'll never know. Either way. What says you? What side of this are you on? I think most of you are going to be on the Lamar Jackson side. That's the safe side. Okay, that's the easy side. And I get that. And I'm not mad at you because, as I said, I wouldn't be mad if they went after Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't be mad about it at all. Okay, because I know what he is when he's healthy. My problem and what I contend, and I can't see the future, and I don't have a crystal ball, but I just got this sinking pit in the feeling in my stomach. I just got this sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach that in the next year or 2, Lamar Jackson is going to have a significant injury. I don't want to be the team that invested in a year or 2. He could be hoisting a Lombardi and everybody could be saying, see, we could have been that team, right? Anything could happen. We don't know. It is more likely that he sustains a significant injury than it is he wins a Super Bowl if we're going off of his track record. Because he's only won 1 playoff game with a offense that was handcrafted to suit his skill set. He's only won 1 playoff game. Where do you stand on this? Lamar Jackson or Sam Howell? And you could either say Sam Howell or some other young quarterback next year in the draft if you don't believe in Sam Howell. But that's essentially what you're putting against one another, is you're taking your current quarterback situation as it is, and you're including all assets in that, drafts, capital, all of that stuff, cap space, and your quarterback situation, roster as it's constructed. All of that is included in this discussion and then you're looking at Lamar Jackson. Because everything changes if you go after him. And it could all change for the better. It could end up being a wash. He could be really good. You could lose some players. We could be what we want to be, which is a good regular season team. But are you going to win a Super Bowl? That's what it's all about. Who gives you the best chance to win a Super Bowl? Is that with Lamar Jackson? Because you're gonna lose some pieces. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. And that's going to happen down the road with Sam Howell eventually. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Because by the time you get to Sam Howell needing a contract, you have already made a decision on Chase Young and Montez Sweat. You have already made a decision. You'll be getting towards the end of John Allen's extension, right? You'll be getting towards the end of Daron Payne's extension. We would have already figured out, is Benjamin St. Juste any good? Do we need to re-sign him or not? You see what I'm saying? By the time you get there, Washington has been very smart. A lot of these deals, 3-year deals. What does that mean? By the time we're looking to sign Sam Howell, if he's any good, a lot of these contracts are coming off the books. A lot of free cap space. If you look at it, nobody got a 4-year deal. Nobody got a 5-year deal. Everything's condensed into this little pocket of time. That's done intentionally. Payne's 4-year deal, I guarantee you they can get out after 3. Don't know the specifics, haven't looked at it, don't care, because I know what I'm getting out of Daron Payne at this point. But I guarantee you there's an exit ramp after 3 years. Nobody ever gets to that final year of their deal. Well, I shouldn't say that. Most players don't get to the final year of that deal. John Allen's extension was, 4 years? By the time you get to the Sam Howell needing a new contract, we'll be at pretty much the tail end of that extension. Terry signed a, 3-year extension? You see where I'm going with this, okay? It's all here. Jahan Dotson, his rookie contract, you'll have to make a decision on him. Whether Curtis Samuel is back or not, you see where I'm going with this. You don't have to make every decision right now if you roll with Sam Howell. If you go the Lamar Jackson route, you have to make tough decisions right now. TDs, right now, on the spot. Most of y'all, all of that shit out the window. Y'all like, I don't give a shit what you're talking about. Give me Lamar Jackson. You know what? I'm not mad at you for that at all. I'm not mad at you at that. Okay, I totally get it. When you've been in quarterback purgatory for as long as we have, you just want an answer. You want a guy. I get it. I totally get it. Anyway, can't wait to hear your responses, what you guys think. I'm going to say this again. This is purely speculation on my part. I have no sources. I have the one person that I talked to, they have no idea what's going to happen. But that person has told me that all they know is that Sam Howell is the guy. But again, Ron has been way too comfortable, almost to the point where I'm uncomfortable with the amount of the comfort that he's had this offseason. Almost to the point where I'm like, Ron, are you not telling me something? Either that or he really truly believes in Sam Howell the way that I do. We'll see. Only time will tell. But I'll expound upon this on the podcast today. Leave it down in the comment section. Can't wait to hear your responses. Until then, you guys know what it is. Should be very, very interesting. Talking about this whole situation. And we're going to hear about it, I think, for the remainder of the offseason until there's resolution. I don't think it's going to come before the draft. I've said this already. If you're a team even interested in Lamar Jackson, I'm not giving you my 2023 first-round pick. You can have my 2024 and my 2025. You're not getting my 2023, though, because I know what it is. We'll see what happens. I think Washington's in the discussion. I don't think they're going to pull the trigger, but they're in the discussion. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the Command Post. You know what it is.
New Howell order.
Take command. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Take care.
LouieTeeNetwork.